What's going on, guys? So, before I went on my little holiday vacation, I told y'all that I wanted to come back with some sort of Babbit news. Really, any sort of book update. And indeed, I have. It's just not what I was expecting. What I had hoped for was to get in touch with my sister and go over a finalized plan of action for what remained of the project. I hoped that maybe I'd see the beginnings of some concept art and all that fun stuff. But I guess overall, I was looking for just sort of hard confirmation that things were still going to progress the way that I thought or assumed they were. Long story short, though, my sister and I did recently get in contact, and we both decided that the best thing to do right now is to once again postpone Babbit. Which, of course, that's not the news I wanted, and that's certainly not the news I was hoping to share with you. But I kind of saw it coming. You know, there was quite a stretch of time there that I wasn't getting the answers to my questions, and there wasn't a whole lot of certainty about things, and there wasn't any concrete start date for anything, or really no communication. And I guess the longer things went, the more I could see that it was probably going to end this way all along. But she was super upfront about it. You know, she said that with the amount of time and work that needed to be dedicated to finishing the project, on top of an already busy day-to-day schedule, she just wasn't feeling good about it. She didn't think that she could balance it, which I completely stand by as a decision, because not only did I not want her to try to cram it into a schedule where it wasn't going to fit and produce something that neither of us were happy with, just for the sake of it getting done, but I didn't want her to have the stress of feeling like it needed to be done right now on top of everything else. I didn't want her to put that pressure on herself to do it. So I completely respect that decision. And I hope that you all understand that when something like this happens for my sister, where it just doesn't work out, it in turn means that it doesn't work for me. But I think the thing that we are definitely in agreement in, and I definitely want you guys to still be aware, just like the last time that this was postponed, we do want to finish it. she does want to do the illustrations. We do want to get it out on Amazon so it can make it into your hands and so it can be enjoyed. The big stick in the mud about that is that we just don't have a timeline for any of that stuff. I'd like to be able to tell you it's going to be soon, but I just can't because I mean, it's probably going to come down to her work schedule and whenever she has time to do it. And I just don't know when that's going to be. So it sucks to have to say this again, but it's probably the best case scenario. But the bigger question is, what does that mean for me as an author and you as the community? Where does that leave us? What do we do in this type of a situation? And I guess the biggest thing that I want to make crystal clear to you is that even when stuff like this does happen, and it's going to happen again because that's just how the world works, you and I are not going to stop. You and I are always going to have things to do. Even when projects that I've been working on have to be postponed, even when things change and don't come to quite the fruition that I was hoping for, there's always going to be something else. There's always going to be another project. So as long as, nothing serious happens in my personal life, nothing goes catastrophically wrong with my life or my health or anything like that, God willing, I'm always going to be producing something for you guys. And truth be told, as this hiatus has gone on, I've gotten really antsy creatively. I've gotten tired of just sitting on my hands because the YouTube videos really aren't cutting it anymore, and I just want to make something. I always make sure that I take a break after a new book comes out, not only for my benefit, for my mental and emotional health, so that I can kind of decompress and set up for the next one, so to speak. I also do it for you guys, so that there is time for you to buy the book if you want to enjoy the book, and pass it on to the next person if that's what you choose to do. Because if you're somebody that buys everything that I put out, first of all, God bless you. Second of all, if I was to come out with one book right after another, which I probably could, that could get real messy, because then you wouldn't be sure where your money should go, where your attention should go, where your support should go. What book do you buy first? The list goes on. It can get real messy. So I just make sure that both of us have that time between projects to enjoy them before celebrating the announcement of the next one. But the thing is that when that break gets too long, I start to feel lazy and like I should be doing something, and I just get this terrible itch to get back to work. And, either way the whole Babbit thing would have ended up, I would have been waiting because, if she had decided to move forward with it, it could take months of, work on the illustrations before it's finally finished. And the other path is I just sit and wait for her to say she's ready, which could be God knows how long. Either way, I'm sitting here doing nothing, and I don't like that. So the best thing to do is just get back to work, get creating, and move on to the next project. So I guess this is my weird way of announcing a new book. I guess I can talk about my return to Wonderland, which I've decided to call Wonderhaven. Now, of course I don't have every last detail fleshed out, as I rarely do before I actually write the thing. But essentially, what Wonderhaven is going to be is a prequel where I take a look at, what Wonderland was like before Alice got there. What it was like when Red and White's parents were still king and queen. And kind of the events that led to Alice's arrival, which then led to Alan's arrival, and kind of all the events in between. Essentially, I want to take all the lore in the Crystal Rose, because there is a lot. A lot of references to past events, and a lot of connections to the past that I really kind of left vague, just to kind of build curiosity and kind of see if there was potential in this project, in this next book, because I really wasn't sure where I wanted it to go, but I really want to kind of take that lore that was established in the Crystal Rose and expand on it, so that you can see exactly what those events were. Like I said, it is a prequel, yes, but I also want it to serve as a nice way to cap off a trilogy. So you have a clear focus on the beginning of events, the events that kind of were the catalyst to everything else that happens in the the other two books. And I mean, who doesn't like a trilogy? So I guess that at its core, that's the base idea, is just a prequel where we go back and tie up those loose ends and complete the timeline. But the bigger idea here is that Wonderhaven is going to be the launching point for an expansive universe, an expansive Wonderland. Essentially, what Wonderland is the start. What Wonderhaven is the start of is, I want it to be I want it to mark the completion of what I've decided to call the Little Saga. The events, that led all the characters that we know to meet and be involved, and, essentially Wonderhaven is the beginning of the Little Saga. Crystal Rose and that cataclysmic event is the end of it. So essentially the biggest thing that I'm trying to show here is that while the Littles' involvement in Wonderland is a big piece of the timeline, it's not their entire history. And I said it's a launching point because my plan then is to pick up after the Crystal Rose, after the cataclysmic event at the end, and pick up those pieces and kind of reconstruct what Wonderland might look like post Alan and Alice, post Little. And that opens it up to really kind of go into uncharted territory with characters and creatures, and I mean, it could be really cool. I don't even know what's going to happen, and I plan on writing it. So I just think there's a whole lot of potential just to be super imaginative and creative and just kind of really, really, I guess branch away from the original Alice story. And I think this is the start of really making it my own and coming into that. Because I feel like that's something I've always kind of tried to do, is get away from the original story and make it my own. And I really feel passionate that this is the start of that. And if you still don't really comprehend what I'm going for here, think of it as the original trilogy to be, think of Wonderhaven, Alan, and the Crystal Rose as Harry Potter. Everything that's going to come after that to be like Fantastic Beasts. Or, vice versa. Think of the original trilogy as The Hobbit, and then going into The Lord of the Rings, or the Star Wars prequels and the original trilogy. That kind of thing. Just kind of, expanding on the world, expanding on the universe. So it's something that we're familiar with because we have all this lore, we have all this story, we have all these connections, but it's something new. And bigger. It's a bigger picture with a lot of different parts, a lot of moving pieces, stuff like that. And I've always sort of been interested in that kind of thing, as far as like connected universes and stuff. So to be able to bring that into my Wonderland is very, very exciting. So with that being said, here's what my probably next few weeks is going to look like. I am going to be rereading the first two books, cover to cover, and taking notes. No, I'm not excited about reading both books for like the 12th or 13th time, but I'm gonna do it just to make sure that I have every single detail that I could possibly need, just so that if something comes up, I don't have to be looking through file after file, specific, searching chapter after chapter for a specific detail, hoping to have it all right there in front of me so I can take it, take my notes, and then apply it to the writing process of this book. And I really, really hope it comes together. But that's probably, I'm a slow reader. Hopefully it won't take too long, but I am a slow reader. So it's probably going to take me at least a few weeks to get through both books and kind of go through everything with a fine-tooth comb the way I want to, and make sure I've got everything so that I'm set for the writing of Wonderhaven. So I really hope everybody's excited, as excited as I am. I hope I was able to turn a negative into a positive here, and I really hope you guys are ready to return to Wonderland with me, because I sure am. So here's to keeping the train moving and keeping projects alive. We'll see you next time, guys.